So good afternoon, friends. So in the last class, we have discussed about questioning, and our purpose was how questioning is helpful in the classroom discussion and classroom discourse. So as you know that as a teacher, your purpose is to help each and every child to develop their communication, to express their feeling, to express their knowledge, and thereby to help each and every child to construct knowledge on their own. So in this process, classroom discourse has a very significant role. Because as you know that classroom discourse is the oral communication that happens in the classroom among students and also between the class and the teachers. But in the entire process of classroom discussion and discourse, questioning plays a very important role. Because you will not find a teacher who never asks question but only teaches. So in fact, you cannot teach without questioning. You have to ask question at the different phases of teaching or the different stages of teaching in throughout the classes. Whatever subject you teach, you may be teaching science, you may be teaching social science, you may be teaching language, but you have to ask question because question is essential, and therefore, as a part of your teacher training course, so questioning is an important skill. You need to develop the skills, the strategy of questioning, and especially how the questioning can be helpful for classroom discourse and the classroom discussion. And we have discussed in the last class what is the importance of questioning, what is the significance of questioning in the classroom discourse and classroom discussion. Then let us see there are three important components, there are three important elements of classroom questioning. So number one is formatting the question or structuring the question or preparing the question. Number two is delivering the question, asking the question, designating the question, and the number three is managing students' response. Let us discuss one by one. The first one is the structuring question or preparing the question or formatting the question. As a teacher, you have to be very careful when you are asking a question. Because if your question is not properly framed, properly structured, then it may discourage students to ask or to answer your question. Suppose, for example, you are putting a question which is ambiguous, which is grammatically inconsistent, which is not clear, which is lengthy. The students will not able to understand your question. When students will not able to understand a question, they will not able to answer your question. So then the entire meaning of or entire purpose of asking question will be going well. And therefore I suggest you prepare question clearly in a simple language so that each and every child can understand your question. Using a difficult sentence, using a difficult words, using a lengthy sentence for asking question, discourage the child to give the answers. And the second point is, whenever you are asking question or thinking to ask a question, always relate your question to the topic that you are teaching. If you are teaching about the theories of atom, your question must be based on the theories of atom. If you are teaching about the Konark in a history lesson, your question should be based on the Konark or related to that. Otherwise, it will discourage, it will create disinterest among the child to think on your question, to think for answering the question. So therefore, the relevancy of the question or related to the content is very important. You should not ask a question that is not relevant, that is not related to classroom teaching. Otherwise, it will it will have a lot of disadvantages. It will not encourage child to think and give the answer. Even it may give a management problem to you as a teacher. And the third point in the little bit I shared with you in my last class, whenever you are asking question, ask a question that start with the WH words. WH word I mean what question, why question, how question. Like this kind of question has a potential to encourage the child to think critically, to think innovatively. And if you're asking on the other hand the yes or no question, have you seen something? Is it correct? So these questions will end in answer like yes or no. So yes and no answer has a less meaning, has a less utility for a teacher during the classroom discourse and the classroom discussion. And therefore I suggest try to limit the use of the question yes or no. Yes or no question not at all useful to develop creativity, innovativeness, and critical thinking among the students. And the last point is, whenever you are asking question or whenever you are preparing the question or formatting the question, see that you are asking a single barrel question. There are a double barrel questions are there. Double barrel question means, you are asking two questions at a time by connecting using a word and. Like, when and who developed or constructed the temple Konark. So this is double barrel question. Because, suppose I am a student, I know the first part of the question. Who constructed the temple Konark? I know the only one part. So then I am not able to raise my hand because I cannot give the full answer. So therefore, always prepare question that is single barrel. That is, that requires a single answer. That requires a single kind of understanding. Don't put two questions and ask to the class. So this kind of question, or I say double barrel question, it gives a confusion or it creates confusion among the children, and therefore we should try to avoid this kind of double barrel question. So our intention is, whenever we are asking question, our intention is, it should help the child to actively think. It should help the child to think something innovatively, think something creatively. At the same time, it should help the teacher to continue the teaching, to progress the teaching, to, I think, to go on the teaching. Because otherwise, questioning is a tool that helps each and every teacher to continue teaching. You sometimes you cannot continue teaching without question, because questioning helps you as a teacher. It gives a feedback, like, whether students are understanding you, whether students are not understanding you. It's everything is designed by, or everything is helpful to you as a teacher. It is given by the question. If you are not asking question, you are not getting whether you are teaching well or whether you are not teaching well. You are not getting any idea. So therefore, questioning is much. Let us come to the second part of the questioning, that is, delivering question. So this is also equally important. Deliver the question, asking question. In what way, in what voice, in what tone, in what volume, in what pitch you should deliver the question. Because sometimes you might have you might have seen some teacher, they will ask a question that is not audible to the last bench. So so what about the students who are sitting in the last bench? They are not able to listen to the question. When they are not able to listen to the question, how can they answer the question? Because whenever we are discussing the classroom discourse, we are intentionally each and every child should participate in the classroom discourse, and therefore you should ask question in the audible voice. You should ask question in the audible voice. You should speak in such a loud voice so that each and every student in a class should understand it, should listen it, and should try to understand. And therefore, you should try to finalize a reasonable speed. You should finalize a reasonable, volume. In what volume you should speak in a class. So volume depends upon the size of the class, number of students attending your student. If you have I think 30 students are sitting in your class, your volume will be different. And when you are teaching to the class of 100 students, your volume will be different. And therefore, as a teacher, you have to decide what is the volume that you should use for asking the question. This is number one. And the second part is, sometimes, what is the speed of asking a question? What if you're asking a question in a very very fast, then many of the students will not able to understand your question. And when they are not able to understand your question, there is no question of answering. And therefore, you should also see what is the reasonable speed. What is the speed in which your students can follow it. I think it again vary from class to class. In the lower classes, your speed should be, I think slow. But in higher classes, the way you move to higher classes, maybe you can make it little bit speed. But I always suggest my students the asking question, the speed of asking question should not be so speed so that the students don't understand your question. And another important part when you're talking about the the asking question, the delivery of the question, the important point is to whom the question should be asked. There are two options. Whether the question should be asked to an entire class or the question should be asked to a particular student. Of course, as a teacher, when you start asking a question, you ask question to the entire class. Yes, we always ask question to the entire class. It does not mean that the entire class will answer at a time. No, that chorus answer should be discouraged. Chorus answer should be discouraged. When we are talking about designating question, asking question, whether the question should be asked to the entire class or to a particular student. So I always suggest to my student, don't like allow or encourage child to or students to give a chorus answer or answer in a group. Like that should be that will create a I think management problem for you. Your class will be indisciplined. You are not able to control your class, manage your class, and therefore once you ask a question, once you deliver the question by appropriate speed and appropriate volume, so then you can designate a question to a particular student. This particular question can be answered by the student A or the student B or the student C. The question must be designated to a particular student. The student A should answer this question. If the student A is not able to answer the question, the same question can be asked to some other student. I think this process should continue till you get a correct answer. Otherwise, you should not ask the question to the entire class and create a problem, or create a noisy class. That is not suggestible at all. But a question must be designated to a particular student. If he or she is not able to answer correctly, that can be asked to some other students. Okay. And another last part of the questioning that is helpful for classroom discourse or classroom teaching is the management of the students' response. I think that is very, very important and essential. Management. You ask a question, students are responding. So how to manage it? You imagine when you ask a question, there are many kind of responses will come. You ask a question, some students will answer it completely wrong. Some students will answer it half correct and half wrong. Some students will answer it like correct, 100% correct. Some students will answer it correctly, but the word, the structure of the answer is not wrong. So what you want to tell it? Like as a teacher, when you ask a question, you get a variety of response. And this response should be effectively managed. This response of this challenge should be appropriately managed so that a child can learn from the questioning, learn from the your management of responses. Suppose, for example, you ask a question. You can ask a question. Usually, I suggest my students to ask a question. The student, those who are not raising their hands. I think you have seen in the class when teacher asks a question, many students are there. Those who raise their hand. Yes, I am. Miss. I think some students they know the answer. Sometimes they sit quiet. They are shy in nature. They don't want to raise their hand and they don't want to stand and open their mouth. So as a teacher, I always suggest because our intention is to bring each and everyone to participate in the classroom discourse. And therefore, my suggestion is we should ask the question to the student, those who are not raising their hands. You ask them. They, you will find that many of the students, those who are not raised their hand, they can answer correctly. Or some of them may not answer it correctly. So it does not matter. But you should ask a question, or you should give first chance to the student those who have not raised their hands, because you want to help that child to develop the confidence, to remove the shyness, to participate in the classroom discourse, and therefore we have to ask question to the student those who have not raised their hands. Okay, and you ask a question and one student answer it completely wrong answers. What to do now? So this when you are getting a wrong response, the question can be asked to the another student. I think the another student may give it correct answer. Or even the second student is not able to answer correctly, you ask to the third question. I think the process should continue till you get a appropriate answer. Even after asking 2-3 students, if you are not able to get a correct answer, I think this is time for the teacher to answer the correct. But in the second situation, you ask a question in one student's answer is half correct. Then again, as a teacher, instead of answering the full correct answer, I think you can take help of another students. You can ask students, anybody who can give a correct answer or a full answer. So this is how you can manage it. Sometimes as a teacher, you have to repeat the student answer which is correct, because for the benefit of the students. When usually when a student is answering, other students or fellow students, they are not giving attention. But when the teacher is repeating the same answer once again, and all entire class will be attentive, will be writing the answers, and therefore sometimes you have to respond it. Because the way you manage the class, it will help you to develop the classroom discourse or create a better environment in the classroom so that each and every child can participate in the class. So language is not a problem. If a child is not able to speak in English, suppose if you are teaching in English medium school, not able to speak in English, so you can allow them to speak the language they know it. Because nowadays, so language is not a matter. Matter is what whether you know the answers, whether you know the contents. So that is something useful for us. So therefore, these are the three important aspects, formulating a question, delivering a question, managing the students' response are three important elements of questioning, which are very much related to classroom discourse and classroom discussion. As a teacher, if you master all the three important skills of questioning, I think definitely you can create a better environment. You can create a better classroom atmosphere where each and every child will be, feel free or encouraged to participate in the class. Okay, I think thank you very much. We'll be discussing in the next class, some other important topics like in how classroom discourse and classroom discussion questioning and interview. So thank you very much.